All right, guys, welcome back. I am your host, your instructor, Roy Mcqueen. And yeah, you got a code. So starting off from our last video, we had created an app here. You know, we pressed the button. I showed you guys how to use an activity, how to call one activity from the other. So look, in this tutorial here, we're gonna keep it moving. I need you to understand what life cycles are. So this is the app that we left off with. You see, we just have a button and we have an on-click listener. So in Android, look, we have life cycles, right? So let me give you an example of what a life cycle is, how to think about it. So let's say if in a day's life cycle, right? You wake up in the morning, you have breakfast, you have lunch, you have dinner, and then you go to bed. And for that day, that's that life cycle for that day. You know, and tomorrow you wake up, you do it all over again. So in Android has a life cycle. So it's very important for you to understand what the life cycle is in Android. You wake up in the morning, you open your eyes, you wake up in the morning. That's on create right here. That's the first thing that you do in the morning. First thing is open your eyes, you're alive, you're up. All right. So let's go ahead and hit Control O. Next thing, on start. Go ahead and find on start here. On start, boom. So Control O is just overriding our members that we have. Now we have on start. So we have on create, we open up our eyes. On start, okay? We get up out of bed, we start moving around, we begin, okay? And then after that, let's look at it as on. We have a method called on resume. On resume. So on resume, now we are beginning our day. We're beginning the daily activities that we are doing. So we're in motion now of the day. We're moving around. We're handling our daily goals before we shut down for the day. Okay. So after on resume, now we have another method called on pause. Now this is a method where, hey, so on pause, I'm starting to bring it in for the day. I'm finishing up my day. I'm starting to bring it in. We have on pause, and the next Control O, on stop. Let's go to on stop right here. Boom, on stop. Hey, I got my pajamas on. I'm in the bed. I'm done for the day. Then we have one last function, which is on destroy. On destroy. Hey, I'm asleep. And that's my life cycle right there in a day. So it's probably a bad analogy, but this is, you get the picture. It's a life cycle. It's a life cycle that the main activity, that activities in an Android app goes through. Okay. So whenever you whenever you start an activity, it goes through these life cycles. These are the main life cycles that you need to be aware of. You have on create, on start, on resume, on pause, on stop, and then on destroy. Okay, so now you might ask, okay, why is a life cycle important? Why do I need to know about life cycles? So you got to think about it like this. So as a user, remember that your activities are a window that's showing the UI components and it's executing your code. Okay, so as a user navigates from activity to activity, and throughout your app, each activity instance goes through different states. Okay, and the reason why you want to understand these states is because you want to know when to execute code certain times in different states to make your app more robust and for you can understand and not have certain crashes go on. You need to understand the life cycle. You need to know, hey, what state is this activity in? Like, say for instance, when you have when you have a pop-up window that pops up, your main activity will go into one of these states. All right, so the next thing we want to do is we want to go ahead and go through each one of these different life cycles events. So first we start with the on create. So what I want to do here, let's go ahead and create let's create a tag, and we're going to equal that to just a string main activity. All right, so what I'm going to do here is we want to log to the log cat. That way we can see when one of these functions are fired off. Log D tag. We have our message. All right, so we're going to go on create. All right, so inside this activity is where you want to set up your references for your UI components, like we did in the that button that we had, the text view, stuff like that. So you want to do that in the onCreate method. This is the first method that gets fired when the activity gets created. So that's where you want to go ahead and establish those connections to your UI, your XML layout, and you want to establish whatever other connections that you need to be available when the activity is first created. Then for our OnStart, so this is where the app makes the UI visible to the user. So let's go ahead and log this. Log D. We're using the same tag again. Where the UI code is initialized. So in the onResume, that's where things get going. All right. So when we reach this state, the activity comes to the foreground, and we ready to rock. So let's see, activity. So let's go ahead and log that. Log D on resume means we are ready to rock. Let's say we are ready for the world. Yeah, we come to the foreground. All right, so keep in mind that the app stays in this state until something takes the attention away from the activity, such as like a phone call or a dialogue too can come up and can take this out of the resume state. So until that, we are in this state and we are dealing with the world around us, and we are alive and alert. Inside this onPause function, this is where you can possibly free up some resources and not, uninitialize certain things. Next, we have the OnStop state. Now, this is where the activity is no longer visible to the user. So the reason why an activity won't be visible to a user will be probably because another activity has launched. So like in the previous video that we did before this, where we launched another activity and how our first activity went to the background. See, that's that OnStop state that it passed through. So this is, okay, let's say user, boom. All right, and then for our last and final lifecycle callback, we have OnDestroy. So this is right before the activity is recreated. So that's the whole lifecycle thing. So let's go ahead, let's see, the last, man, I'm telling you, I can't type today. Oh shoot, here we go. So this is what an Android lifecycle is for an activity. So the reason why we log these in, because I'm going to go ahead and run this, and we're going to look at the log cat. Click on the log cat. Let's pull this up. Let's go ahead and press this trash can button. Let's go ahead and launch the app that we had that we made in the previous video. Go ahead and run that. Okay, my phone, here we go. Okay, let's see what just happened here. You want to type in main activity. So all we doing right here, I'm just filtering it out. So main activity, we ran it. So this has been ran. As you can see in our log cat, it shows us main activity, which is our tag. On create, this is fired when the activity is first created. Okay, so this is our log. So we got on create right there. Then as you see, on start comes next, where the UI code is initialized. UI code that is maintained that is managed is initialized, I should say. Then we have our on resume. We are ready for the world. And if you notice that on pause, on stop, and on destroy doesn't get called. So we just stand in our on resume state. So the app is running. Okay, so everything is running. Now we'll get kicked out of the on resume state if something kicks us out, as far as like a phone call, or as far as like if we press this button and launch a new activity, then you're going to see us go through the on pause, on stop, click this button and see what we get. Boom. On pause, user is leaving. On stop, activity no longer visible. And you also notice that we did not get OnDestroy call yet. Our OnDestroy gets called when we recreate that app. So on the emulator, we have to activate, we have to click this and activate the positioning, or you can go from portrait to landscape. So as you see, let's go ahead and clear this just so I can show you. Clear that, break up our emulator, and let's go. All right, so let's go back. All right, we're gonna on start, on resume. So now as we rotate the device, as you can see, OnDestroy is called.